I'm Steven Greenhut, Director of the Pacific Research Institute's Free Cities Center. We're here in downtown Roseville, California, on the outskirts of Sacramento, looking at the city's large and remarkably vibrant downtown. We're talking with Wayne Wiley of the City of Roseville and Dave Peaches, who's an architect and involved with the Downtown Partnership. We're going to talk about what makes this downtown so vibrant and why it's so important for suburban communities to have downtowns, how they create a sense of place and community. We'll be meeting with Andy Klein, the owner of Monk's Corner, a craft brewery on the main street in downtown Roseville, to talk about why Roseville's been such a good community to operate a business. Wayne?
Yeah, well, good morning. I'm Wayne Wiley, Economic Development Manager for the City of Roseville. I've worked for the city in various capacities for the last 20 years and excited to take you guys on a tour of our downtown.
I'm Dave Peaches. I'm an architect in downtown, and I'm also a member of the Downtown Roseville Partnership Board, and been involved in our downtown for about 25 years, helping with remodeling things and helping generate business and helping Wayne make things work.
So we're standing in front of the City of Roseville offices. So tell us about what's going on there.
Yeah, you know, this is an important location for our downtown because the city office behind me and the building next to that was part of a catalyst site. And so going back in 2009 when we adopted our specific plan, we realized that this was a critical site for development in the way of the impact that it would have on our downtown. And so behind me is a 4-story office building that the city owns with a variety of tenants. It also houses our incubator and co-working location, the Roseville Venture Lab. And it generates not only a place for our employees, but also activity for our downtown.
And then Dave, you were talking about this historic building and it's undergoing renovations. What's going on there?
Well, what's going on here, this is our historic post office building. I say historic, from about the 30s, I believe. And it's being converted into a Old Town Pizza. Old Town Pizza was in our Old Town district across the railroad tracks, and it's going to be moving here. We're going to have a rooftop bar on the top.
It's a testament to our downtown and the growth that we've seen going back to Old Town Pizza restaurant wanting to locate down here. This is a substantial investment in our downtown. And they see the opportunities in not only acquiring the property, but expanding their current operations. And so we're really excited. They're expected to double their revenue and their customer base by locating to this bigger location. And it really goes hand in hand with the events that we typically see in our town square. But we have over 100 events per year, hundreds of thousands of people coming down here. And so this is really kind of the heart of the city.
And then down the alley, I've seen trains going back and forth, and the train yard kind of splits up the downtown with the old town. And tell me a little bit of the history of Roseville and the role of the trains, and that seems to be a big part of. It was a railroad stop, right?
Yeah, Roseville it used to be called Junction, and it was a junction between several areas, the railroad in several areas, and basically Roseville was founded as a railroad town, and most of the people that lived here worked at the railroad historically. And one of the things that's very interesting about our downtown is we have the railroad on one side and we have a creek on the other. We're kind of a little bit landlocked. Sometimes downtowns have streets that run into them, neighborhoods that run into them, they get a bit interrupted. We've got a little bit of an extra challenge to bring people down here because of the railroad on one side and the large creek. As one of our city managers called it, a river.
We've been very intentional in the redevelopment of our downtown, and I think that's helped. With places like Old Town Pizza developing here, we have some mixed-use housing projects that are starting to come online. We have there again the Venture Lab, the Roseville Venture Lab, that brings a variety of business entities and community partners down here. So I think through those events, and we're getting more exposure. And
one of the things I've noticed about Roseville is a lot of times people outgrow their towns, small towns, as they get a little older, they leave towns and find jobs elsewhere. What I've noticed is a lot of the people that grew up in Roseville are still here. Roseville is kind of matured with these people and offered jobs for these people. And a lot of people, due to some of our local industries, have found, you know, a lucrative career here in Roseville. So they didn't have to leave. And one of the other things that plays about our downtown is we have two large parking structures that the city has helped put together, because we definitely, when we bring people downtown, we have to provide parking.
Yeah, preserving the architectural integrity of some of these buildings and that history has also been something that's been a critical aspect of our development plan. We have the Roseville Theater to the left of us. We have the old Tower Theater, which is very iconic, and a lot of the photos you see of our downtown, their sign is shown. Because we originally started the visioning process for our downtown in 2005. And I believe Dave said on some of those steering committees. And then the specific plan was adopted in 2009. And that really laid the groundwork for what you see here today. We did a land use overlay and zoning overlay, but we also kind of streamlined the development process to make it easier for folks to come down here and really invest. And through that, you've seen an explosion in the number of new restaurants, new retailers. I don't know exactly what the vacancy rate is, but you'd be hard pressed to come and walk down Vernon Street and see more than 3 vacancies at any particular time, which is drastically different than what it was in the early 2000s.
Yeah, and we're big on permitting reform and making it easier for businesses to do their thing. So could you go into some detail about what was involved in that?
Yeah, I think that's a great point. In my experience, what's necessary to have a vibrant downtown, it comes down to partnerships, engagement, and making sure there's alignment. And so we've seen that with our business community, with our property owners, with our just citizens and residents, but also from a local government standpoint, our city officials, our staff, and our electeds. And I think that's a key point, because it's not just our current electeds and city leaders that have helped us get to where we are, it's the previous electeds and city leaders who helped shape this vision. And so through that, we provided a streamlined permitting process. We've tried to reduce our fees where possible. The city has invested in infrastructure there again to take the burden off of developers who come in. And then also being very intentional in the parking situation that Dave mentioned. Oftentimes with downtowns, parking is a hot topic. Here, we have close to 1,000 free parking spaces that patrons can come, park in once, and shop and patronize the businesses, and then leave if they so choose. So, you know, all collectively, it's really been a concerted effort to get to where we are today.
Now, in all openness, I've been a critic of the old redevelopment agencies, right? How they created tax increment financing and a lot of subsidies, sometimes abused eminent domain. Has the city of Roseville done any of those? Redevelopment's been gone for a decade now, 12 years actually. Did Roseville ever get involved in the whole redevelopment process?
Yeah, I would say the redevelopment, we did have a redevelopment organization that really helped with acquiring properties, and I think without some of those efforts, we wouldn't be where we are today. Actually, the Goldfields building was originally bought by a redevelopment agency and then subsequently sold to a developer. So there have been junctures before and prior to redevelopment that the city has intervened, but there again, in order to achieve that broader mission and goal. Also, going back to the post office site, the city office building right behind me or off to the right, those were city-owned sites that one, we decided to invest in, and then the second one at the Old Town Pizza site, we decided to sell. There again, identifying those catalyst sites, those critical sites where could the city make the investment, or is it better for us to sell it and let a private entity do that?
And Dave, you saw things take off, and you said it was mostly in the late 90s. And,
Yes.
and what was the catalyst?
Well, what happened, I think it was in the 80s, we brought a lot of technology firms into the city of Roseville, and there was a lot of focus on the surrounds of the city, not on the downtown. There was so much, and this was this kind of scenario where people lived in Roseville but didn't know where our downtown was, or that we had one. And so we had to go through that big technology boom and that focal point to get to the point we kept saying, well, but pay attention to our downtown, pay attention to our downtown. And it took a while because, government is stretched with funding and things. It took a while for the city to be able to focus on the downtown and actually bring some funding downtown. So it was in the 90s where the city actually started being able to really invest in the downtown. And one of the first investments was putting a lot of money on our city hall and making a decision that, because we had done remodeling of this Bank of America building for a city hall, but it was only of certain size. And the city had to decide, we need a bigger city hall. Are we going to keep it here and invest a lot more money? And the city decided downtown is where we think we have to be, and we want to bring people down here. So it was when the city started being more open to investing in the downtown.
Now, through all of that, the city has been focused in engaging residents to bring them down here, and we've been focused on making an investment from a city perspective. Now, being a full-service city, we're one of the top employers here, and bringing people down to Roseville from an employment base, we have a lot of our employees who now work in our downtown. They're, again, just another level of our commitment. So we have the City Hall building, we have the office building that I mentioned, and then we have a third office building that houses some of our utility folks.
Yes.
Now that is a further contribution to our downtown. That's a built-in patron base because all of these workers need to shop and eat in local restaurants. And so there again, going back to that intentionality, the city is focused in making sure our downtown is vibrant.
The Downtown Partnership is a tax-based organization. We receive a certain funding from property taxes, and what we're charged with is using that funding to benefit the downtown, to make it a more vibrant area. We found that there's different aspects to our downtown that bring people here. One of them is to keep it clean and safe. We've kind of found one of the most important things to people when they come to a downtown is they want to feel safe and they want to see something clean.
Right.
As an architect, my focal point is the beauty of architectural features in downtown. We call it capital improvements. But then we also bring it in, we have an events and marketing part of our investment where we're working with the city, we're working with other organizations to support events. We have one of our big events is called Downtown Tuesday Nights in the summer, and it's an incredibly big event. It just seems to be happening when it's really hot. And we have all kinds of things every Tuesday. So it's our focal point to bring people downtown and make the property owners and the merchants understand that we have their back.
To talk about housing, one of the key things that urban planners talk about in reviving downtowns is to have housing so people could come downstairs and frequent the restaurants. And so it looks like downtown Roseville is building some housing projects, and this one behind us is going to be a mixed-use project. So tell us about the history of this.
Yeah, no, we're really excited about it, and you're right. Our downtown specific plan envisioned about 1,000 residential units in our downtown, and this is just one project that would add to it. So as it stands now, they have improved entitlements. It's a 60,000 square foot building. and it's anticipated to have about 25,000 square feet of retail on the ground floor with about 18 units above it and then a rooftop bar. So this is very exciting from an activation standpoint. Having folks live and work in our downtown benefits everyone, particularly the businesses. And so this is a significant investment that we hope to see start moving forward soon.
But the only thing I could say is that this is another adaptive reuse building. This was a telephone company before.
Is any of this related to the state mandated housing element?
It is not, because these would be market rate units.
Oh, okay.
And so we do definitely have obligations that the city is very forthcoming in trying to achieve. And so from our affordable housing standpoint, throughout the city, there are a variety of projects that are recently constructed or under construction. And in our historic Old Town, we'll see a couple of those.
And right behind us are some new, it looks like new apartments. You want to tell us about that and the genesis of that project?
Yeah, so this is another mixed use project, 15 units, about 3,000 square feet of commercial, just recently constructed. And we're really excited. This is going to be the first residential project on Vernon Street in a number of years. And so we're excited for it to open up and to get people living down here.
And is it market rate also? Or?
This is another market rate product. I believe they have studios, 1 and 2 bedroom units, and 2 penthouses. And so I don't know exactly what the rent rates are, but I'll tell you, just in general, we're seeing rental rates actually slightly raise year over year, which is somewhat unfortunate, but is a sign of a strong market rate.
One aspect of our building here is the retail component on the first floor. You'll notice the word Lucy, and Lucy is a salon, a spa salon, hair salon. And the interesting thing about Lucy's tenant improvement here is Lucy has been in the downtown for several years next door. And when this building just came available, they made this move to this building.
We're here in Old Town Roseville, which is divided by the train lines from the downtown. And Wayne and Dave, could you talk about how this area is distinct from downtown and what it brings to the whole?
Yeah, so it's a part of our downtown specific plan, but as you'll see, it has a different kind of vibe and energy. A lot of the businesses are more focused on coffee shops, still restaurants, a lot of personal service, beauty salons, but I'll tell you, this is in the evening a very active place due to the number of nightclubs and bars. And so it is a nice amenity for our community, just as well as the Vernon Street corridor is.
The biggest difference is it doesn't have the major employers along the street that we have in downtown. This is almost all smaller businesses with the most. And one of the things that's also kind of interesting is we actually have more new housing projects in this area. In Condensed, we actually have 3 going on. So they're starting to feed people into the downtown. And one thing that's been interesting is we've had downtown and historic Roseville frequently not always being both successful at the same time. One would be more busy at one time and kind of the other would be more vacant, but right now we're seeming to find that both sides of our quote unquote the tracks are both doing well.
Yeah. Another distinction that I'll make between the Vernon Street corridor and the historic district is you'll notice the architecture of a lot of the buildings has been maintained, and I think that adds to the character. To that end, having previously worked in city planning, I know how important the planning process can be and how arduous it can be at times, especially when you're taking an old building and trying to modify that. And I have to highlight the city's open to business policy. We are a very business friendly community focused on where we can streamlining processes, cutting down on fees and costs of development. And in this area, on a few projects that I've been a part of, I can say everyone from all of our departments has really been working towards that same mission to make businesses successful.
And I have one last question for both of you and let you get back to your work. Tell us why you think it's so important to have a vibrant downtown in an area that's a sprawling suburb. And I don't mean sprawling in a bad way. It's just a big suburb with a lot of new everything. Why do you think it's important to have this core?
Yeah, you know, this is where, in my opinion, community is really built. It's the core of our community. You get all those authentic experiences. You get the authentic restaurants, the arts, the culture. You know, a lot of these coffee shops, you run into the same people, and so it's really our focus to create a sense of space and community in the urban core.
You know, I couldn't say that better. But one of the things that's also kind of important is we're a rather transient culture in general these days, and having these downtowns kind of grounds us and kind of reminds us of that these places have histories. And so when you're even if you're in an area that's surrounding the downtown or far from the downtown, you come down here and you have the sense of, why did Roseville grow here? And what happened here over the span of time. So I think it's just it's educational, and it builds people a great strength and pride in their sense of place.
We're here at the Monk's Cellar in downtown Roseville, talking to business owner Andy Klein, who's started a craft brewery here in downtown before it was even booming the way it is now, about 11 years ago. And we're going to talk about what makes downtown Roseville such a good place to do business. Andy, here we are in downtown Roseville, and it's the Monk's Cellar, and you're the owner. And we'd like to first get a little history of the business, how you came up with the name and chose the location, and what your background is in brewing.
Yeah, absolutely. So I started my professional career in 1995 on the brewing side. I grew up here in Roseville since I was about 9 months old, and have a very fondness for the city of Roseville, particularly downtown Roseville. When I was younger, it used to kind of be the place to go in Roseville to watch a movie or go shopping. So, you know, in my career, since I started, always in my head, I wanted to do my own thing, and I wanted it to be kind of a European kind of concept, hence the name Monk's Cellar. There are monks in the country of Belgium that make wonderful beer. And as I was putting together the business plan for this, the city kind of got word that this local guy that had been brewing beer for quite a while wanted to do something. And the city actually owned this building, and they were offering some good kind of economic incentives to come down here. So always wanted to do kind of the total concept. I didn't want to just do a production brewery. I wanted it to be a place for the community, kind of a community hub for people to come and hang out and have a meal, have a good beer. The nice thing about downtown is the city really actively sought non-chain places to come down here, and I think you know, people have certainly responded to that. They enjoy going to places and supporting small businesses that aren't necessarily chains. So that's kind of what you're seeing down here, is just a lot of independently owned and operated businesses.
What kind of policies have you seen that have been beneficial from the city?
From the city, so they really try to you know, make it very business friendly. I mean, speaking from experience, just coming in the city, having owned this building and really wanting to attract some good businesses. Like I said, they provided some economic incentives. They helped with the permitting process. You know, they're not sitting there just saying, hey, you need to do this. They're there to help you and kind of get you open. They want businesses open down here. They want to get more things going on down here. So really the policies, and the staff. I mean, the staff has been been great.
And you haven't faced any regulatory nightmares or major problems or anything?
No, I mean, nothing jumps out. I mean, there's always things that things that come up, but like I said, they're very open to discussing and talking and trying to make it better for the business community.
So you've talked to other business owners, and is that the consensus?
Yeah, everyone is happy with the business levels. Being here as long as we have, I've seen a lot of people have come to me and said, hey, I'm thinking about doing this, what do you think? And I always encourage it just because it is such a great place to do business. The city is supportive. There's just a lot more activity going on down here. There's a lot of marketing. There's the Downtown Roseville Partnership, which has been awesome. They're providing a lot of marketing dollars just to get more people down here. I mean, I was looking in Midtown Sacramento as one of the possibilities, and when I was comparing kind of the two places, I mean, Roseville to me was much more open and friendly to development and to making or allowing small businesses to be successful. As long as we're not causing any issues and making any waves, I mean, the city leaves us alone. So that's what I want as a small business owner. I don't want regulations that are wearing us down, and I want to run the business how I feel like it should be run. So yeah, they've been good in that aspect.
That was our tour of downtown Roseville, California, which is a vibrant suburban downtown. The lesson is that cities can be a partner with private industry, but the main things they need to do is create good solid infrastructure, keep the city streets safe and clean, and to make the permitting process easier so that businesses can grow and thrive. Thank you for watching our video.